What's up, everybody? Before we get into the video with you guys today, we want you guys to tune in April 19th and 20th as we will be live hanging out with our boys, Fab Reactions, and our honorary use Alec as we watch WrestleMania.
WrestleMania 41 live stream. You got to be tuned in to do so. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when we go live. Also, follow us on our socials to see clips and videos that we'll post leading up to the big show. But now, let's get into the video. Yo, what's going on, guys? C2 Wrestling back. We got to get right into it, Snowden. First and foremost, one of the best NXT shows in not just NXT shows, one of the best wrestling shows. Has me more excited for WrestleMania weekend. NXT Stand and Deliver. We'll be doing some videos for NXT Stand and Deliver. We'll be live for WrestleMania. So make sure that you are subscribed and have notifications turned on. If this show didn't get you excited for WrestleMania weekend, I don't know what will.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you weren't watching NXT tonight, maybe you had work, all right, I get it. But if you were home and you're a wrestling fan and you didn't just watch Roadblock, man, you missed out. It was a fantastic show. We've said this a lot over the course of C2 Wrestling that predictability is good when it's done right. And sure, maybe tonight was a bit predictable with Stand and Deliver coming up. But predictability, again, is good when it's done right. Everybody that won tonight was the right winner. Great matchups from the bottom to the top of the card. Nothing to complain about.
I thought tonight proved why we have been hollering for weeks that NXT, at the very least, is the most consistent TV show in professional wrestling right now.
It absolutely is. I think it's a little tough on SmackDown with 3 hours to stay as consistent. Raw maybe is a little bit shorter now on Netflix, but it's just something about NXT, man. Our boy, the Heartbreak Kid, he knows what he's doing down there. It's been working out pretty well. And, I stayed true to NXT through that 2.0 era. To see where it once was in black and gold to 2.0 to now transitioning to this black and silver era, it's insane, man. The Hardy Boys. I mean, come on, the TNA crossover. What more do you need?
Yeah, we won't get into the minutia of every single match, but yeah, the Hardy Boys beat Fraxium. Damn
the
good
right
match.
the right choice as well.
Right winner.
Yeah.
You had Jordan Grace defeat Roxanne Perez. Solid match. Right winner.
Hmm.
You had some logical, I don't want to call them filler segments, but logical segments in between for your other stories
Yep.
because next week is a pretty big show.
For example, I love what they're doing with the family. I like that direction right now. Yep.
100%. And then was it the street fight following the women?
Yes, I believe so. Yep.
The street fight, Javon Evans versus Ethan
Ethan
Page.
Page, incredible.
Fantastic
Some
match.
of the better spots we've ever seen in like a street fight, table spots, whatever it may be. That cutter to the outside, I mean,
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh,
Cutter on the
sorry.
chair too.
I skipped over
Oh, Oba
Moose
and
and
Moose.
Obafemi.
Yes. Yep.
Meat on meat. Damn
Yeah.
good match.
Hmm.
There's plenty of Moose slander,
Hmm.
but a lot of times in the big matches, I know, his reign as TNA champion wasn't the most exhilarating thing,
Yeah.
but Moose can deliver, and
Oh,
him and Oba
absolutely.
were great dance partners.
Absolutely. I've been on record saying that I'm not the biggest Moose guy. I like Moose. He's good. He can go, but I've never just been sold on him like maybe some other competitors, but he absolutely can go. And there's a reason he is a former TNA champ, currently X Division champion. There's a reason he was used in this match versus Obafemi. And you would think they've wrestled 100 matches together the way they went.
Yeah, fantastic style clash of both guys showing off their strength, their agility. Fantastic match. Then in the main event, Stephanie Vaquer wins the championship, NXT Women's Championship, and retains her NXT North American Championship. More on the expected side, especially after the news that apparently Julia might be injured, might be
Yeah.
carrying an injury. So, not the most surprising outcome, but still a damn good match, damn good ending. And we have been on record. Look, the men's matches tonight were fantastic, but we've been on record about how the NXT women's division is the best women's division in all of professional wrestling.
Hmm.
And this is once again another marquee show, another major show where you had the Hardys on, you had the NXT championship defended, You had a street fight, but the main event was the women. It was the biggest moment. They delivered. And Stephanie Vaquer is I don't know how she stays in NXT much longer. I know it was her decision to go to NXT, but man, some of these women are so good that it's like they have to be going to the main roster sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Julia, when she does come back, maybe gets that one more NXT match, probably takes another loss, puts whoever over, and then maybe just goes up. She might go straight up. Stephanie is, again, the right choice to win this match here, even despite the Julia injury, in my opinion. Stephanie, nothing against Julia. She's been fantastic. Tonight is, credit enough to that. But Stephanie has like a different vibe around her right now. She really has like superstar potential from the fans and everything. And you got to run with that when you have that opportunity. And they're doing so with her. It's not often you do a double champ situation. That Women's North American Championship has not been around too long. So when it comes down to it, I would like to see that go to somebody else in an actual match. I hope they don't pull like the vacate it route. I don't think they will. But Stephanie, I think SummerSlam the latest, post SummerSlam, bring her up, right? The rest of that roster has got plenty of women to go around, especially with Jordan Grace. Roxanne might not be there too much longer, but plenty of women to go around. I think Stephanie should be on that main roster pretty soon.
You know what I think it is about Stephanie? She just feels unique to me.
Yeah, I think Stephanie was also somebody that, not that people didn't know who she was, but she came out of nowhere, kind of. Like she was
Yeah.
wrestling in CMLL and then like had the one match with Mercedes Monet and blew up and was in WWE directly after that. I like it was like really that one match, kind of credit to them, I guess, brought her over, and she really is kind of the next big thing for the women. And it makes sense. She's got the look, the in-ring ability, and they did it right. I mean, she's the one with the look, the attire, and all, but the music, the entrance, everything about her really screams superstar.
Absolutely. So a fantastic main event. We'll get into a little bit of the other matches because they all were so damn good. I'm like this was full blown. You watch the show and you better understand like this is the best wrestling weekly show, the most consistent. I don't get watching a show like this and one finding a complaint, two not wanting to tune in to it more. Like I mean the numbers have been very good for NXT and CW has clearly thrived with NXT.
Yeah.
It just somehow feels like it just keeps getting better.
I mean, it does. I mean, next week there's a United States Championship match. Chelsea Green is defending against Sol Ruka. A lot of these, the emergence of Raw and SmackDown really being kind of more involved on NXT has definitely helped NXT as well. And, they're following logic between all storylines where Sol Ruka last week gets a win. Now she's going to get a title match, so it all makes sense. It's just there's always something to look forward to on NXT. Not that there isn't Raw and SmackDown as well, but there's already a few things that has me ready to go Tuesday night next week and tune in. Tonight's show, top to bottom, again, there wasn't a single thing to complain about. The Hardys beat Fraxium. I can see some people online saying Fraxium's the greatest tag team. They should have won. Listen, they are the greatest thing going right now in the tag team division in all of wrestling. Absolutely. But they're still in NXT. It's still a developmental tag team when you look at it from that sense. And they just faced the ultimate tag team in the Hardy Boys
Yeah.
that have been wrestling for 90 something years. The Hardy Boys should win that match. Veterans go over. Does this mean the eventual end to the Fraxium tag title run? It could. Who do the belts go to? I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a struggle right now, is kind of the NXT tag division. Maybe they can send somebody down from the main roster. Maybe just hold it for a little bit too to put somebody else over. I'm loving No Quarter Catch Crew. Maybe they get their shot eventually, but Fraxium still, with the loss, remains at top. Best tag team going.
Absolutely. And I don't feel like we've talked about even if they got called up, I wouldn't feel any rush to have them drop the titles. Like they're the perfect team to do both.
I've been saying it for ages, been
Yeah.
saying that for months at this point, that if there's ever been a team, now we just had a double champion tonight, but if there's ever been a team to hold an NXT title and the main roster title, I think you have Fraxium pulled double duty for a little bit. And I don't think there's ever been a better team to do that, honestly, especially maybe they haven't gone this route in a while, but that early Nathan Frazier kind of route of him just wanting to fight everybody, getting himself in other matchups, it makes sense to me.
So I mentioned earlier that we're going to do plenty of content for Stand and Deliver. We'll have reactions out for it. We'll probably have predictions out for it. You'll have to be tuned in, tapped in, subscribe, turn on notifications for that. Speaking of Stand and Deliver, I guess we can kind of start to see the direction. I mean, we've been pretty clear that it felt Trick versus Oba in the rematch would be the main event, and it seems that's probably most likely. You'd assume Trick wins next week. Then you start looking past that. I mean, we're getting the teases of a potential Stacks versus Tony D. I mean, that's a great long story that makes sense for a stand and deliver if they were to split the family.
You see now it does, and I do like the direction they're going, but I do kind of hope it culminates in them regrouping, getting back together. I like the idea of Stacks and Tony maybe taking the tag belts, or if it wasn't Stacks and Tony, Stacks and Luca take the tag belts, maybe adds to the NXT tag division, like I was just saying. I don't know if I want to see them fully break up. I don't think that's the right route for all of them realistically, but I do like the little tension route. Stacks is trying to rise up. I think he's always been kind of underrated. So I'm glad we're seeing more of him kind of coming out of his shell. But it's again, there's something to look forward to in every aspect. The family right now doesn't really have much going on. It's kind of like a side storyline, and it still has me ready to tune in next week because I want to see what goes on with the family and everything else.
For sure. And Javon Evans gets a big win. You'd assume he's got a marquee match, but at the same time, would have to think maybe Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints is another big match for Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints, and directly after that match, you put Ethan Page on Monday Night Raw. I mean, you got to call him up right after that. And not that he's overstayed his welcome. Ethan Page has been, man, arguably the one of the best pickups in a long time, and I don't know if he's getting the credit for it that he deserves. But Ricky Saints has got to be on the card. Of course, he's going to be. Ethan Page makes the most sense. We do have a new North American champion in Sean Spears, and Tony D doesn't look like he's quite going back after that yet. Maybe they're involved a little bit still, but they're going to pull the trigger on Javon Evans eventually. Maybe Stand and Deliver is the time to put that North American championship on him.
Yeah, and then the women, I know Jada Parker is next. I don't think that's the Stand and Deliver match. I'm going to be honest. If Stand and Deliver is Stephanie Vaquer versus Jada Parker, that just does not move me in the fucking slightest.
Yeah, that is not great. Yeah, Stephanie, we were just praising Stephanie, praising Julia, Jordan. There's so many women in that roster right now. And listen, maybe we're in the minority here, but not about it with Jada Parker. I think Jada Parker has a look people like. I think she's an attractive woman, so she's got some sort of following through that. I haven't quite seen it from her though, to be honest, to where I'm sold. Not saying she's bad, she's got time to grow. She's still pretty green, hasn't been around for that long. I just don't think it's time yet.
Agreed. The biggest monkey wrench, though, that we have to wrap up talking about, I don't give the smallest bit of fucks about this fucking faction, this fake shield, whatever. And it has me a little bit worried that they may be prominent for Stand and Deliver. They're the ultimate mulligan for me. Like right now, Sean to me is on a heater that like if that's your baby, your project, I'll let you have that while as long as the rest is good, cool. This story does fucking nothing for me.
Yeah, it's just not clicking. It's also, it's been a couple weeks of them being around, causing destruction, and we don't know anything. They haven't introduced them. It's been the same thing over and over again. When do we get more from this stable? What's the stable even called? What's their motive? I don't know. Even if they come out with some storyline that makes sense, it's still just kind of like a retribution, shield esque type stable that isn't quite clicking for me yet. I just can't, and nothing against them. And we've seen the most of Dion Lennox, I guess, out of any of them. And he's a fine in ring competitor for where he's at. But I just don't know if I foresee him like running this faction. It just doesn't quite add up for
Yeah, I've got full trust in Sean. I mean, it's very similar to the Mania build. When everyone was
me.
shitting on the Mania build and we sat here, we're patient. You trust the guy in charge because he hasn't really given me reason to not trust him. Similar to, in football, all Eagles fans going crazy about a trade. And it's like, well, I trust the guy making the decision, so I'm going to give it time. Same thing with Sean and this story. It doesn't interest me. It hasn't moved me. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a few more weeks. I'm going to see what they do with it because I trust the guy making the decisions. I just don't know if this is going to be it.
I don't know either. I did think during their attack tonight, being that they did attack both Ethan Page and Javon Evans, is it possible over the next coming weeks, or even at Stand and Deliver, that we get Javon Evans and Ethan Page teaming up against some two out of that faction? I don't need it. I understand the route they could go there, I suppose, but it just does nothing for me.
No, it does nothing for me, but we will find out soon what the Stand and Deliver card will be. We'll be delivering you content up until then, during then, after then, you name it. So you got to be tapped in. You got to be subscribed, have notifications on. We are pumping content out like crazy. We have for the last, what is this, like 7 months
7, 8 months,
now?
maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
And the grind ain't stopping now.
Absolutely not. Is only continuing, and we are looking forward to the fun. Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania 41, that entire weekend. If you're not subscribed to C2 Wrestling, you gotta be by April 19th and 20th. C2 Wrestling, baby.
Catch you guys next time.